Hello techies, I'm Divya here. On behalf of CyberBrainer, don't you think the world of tech is evolving faster than ever? Now is the perfect time to dive in and build the skills that will take you places. With CyberBrainer, we are putting you in the driver's seat of your own future. We at CyberBrainer don't just teach your interest. We believe that knowledge is power, but it's applied knowledge that truly sets you apart. Whether you're diving into data science, mastering artificial intelligence, or exploring the world of cybersecurity, our courses are designed to give you the skills that matter. So let's jump into the session and make the future yours today. Thank you.
Today, let's look at a different kind of EIB. If we look at our we look at inbound data is fed into Workday, incoming data is transformed into Workday via web services, and we created the EIB interface. Using the Rusty, went to the inbound integration through the web services and updated the employee contact information, which we are having some errors, but we'll get it fixed. Now we want to look at EB or outbound integration, where data is provided by Workday and outgoing data may be transformed into something. And it's going out to somewhere. Let me choose all the tabs to the right. Again, I'm proxied in as Logan Mathiel to have privilege access on the system. Let's create our own EB. And to grab the data from Workday, there are multiple ways, but my preference would be to get it from a report. Let me look at an existing report. In fact, let me do RD census. RD means report definition. It's a shortcut. I'm looking for a report with the name census, which will have all the employee data. We don't have one. Custom report. This is a report to find reports on the tenant. Looking for a census. Report found in this worker. Alright, it's all GMS current workers. That is something that we can look at. Are all active worker needs. To edit this report, first add Logan Mathiel to the report user. She is able to run and access the report. I go to share all authorized users. That should be. Now I'm able to run the report. And what data am I getting in this report? This is the data I'm getting. Employee ID, username, last name, first name, employee type, position, management level, cost, center, regions, worker, projects. Expense report submitted, issued business assets and locations, for example. Also, I would like to add a few more details to this report, such as hire date and their status, whether they're active or not. Let's look at the configuration of this report first. Let's have a look at the filters as to what kind of filters are being used in this report. Issued business asset, none in this list. I don't need that. I want all the business assets to be included. Any subfilters, any prompts. I think what I would like to do, and this is all workers. All workers means it will show me all the active workers which are in the tenant. The terminated will not be included in this data source for this worker. I want to add a hire date worker type position. After first name, I want to see the hire date. We should know what we have. Region says headquarter corporate. And I want to add, let's say country. Location address country. I'm not interested in this line. Last expense report submitted. But I'm interested in issued business assets, for example. And in the last column, it's showing the location as city. I'll keep that, but I'll move the location country towards the end. First, I get the city, the actual location, and the location country. And let's say I want to have the worker's email address as well. Hire date worker type position. Email work. And let's say I want the phone number as well. Phone primary work. Let's see what this is. Including area code and primary work phone. I'm good with this. I can say work phone, work email, hire date, user ID, management level, issued business address, location. And say I want to say rename the heading from location address, country to country. This looks good. Let's rerun the report. Alright. Now I have employee ID, username, last name. Then I have the hire date, the email work, the primary work phone number. If it's listed, the employee type, and towards the end we remove the quotes. But we have the issued business assets. We had the location, and now we added the country as well. Now this data sets up my, say, active worker details. Let me make a copy of this. Or we can use the same one. No worries. Let's go ahead and edit it. To be able to use with an EIB, I need to enable the report for web services. It can be accessed for web services. And for that, what we do is we go to Advanced. We have an option for Enable as Web Service. Let's leave it here for now. And let's create our EIB. Creepy? This time it's going to be an outbound. Let's call it CF outbound. And the name could be worker census data. Earlier, when we created the EIB, we created it as inbound. Use a template to load the data into Workday. Now we're going to use a data from Workday, generate it, and then send it outside. It will create the name, the unique ID for this EIB. I'll go to next. Now it is asking me for the source data. It can be a custom report or it could be a web service. Currently we're going to use custom report. And the name of the report is this. Now, when I try to find it, it will say no match found. And the reason is the report. Web services are not enabled. Let me go ahead and enable it. It will create a web service API, the namespace for it, and the version. I'll try to keep it at the latest version, which is 14.2. And I press. What this will do is it will give me column heading XMLs as well, XML alias. In this particular report, all the fields that I'm using like employee, ID, username, last name, they need to be unique. They cannot be duplicated in any of the XM aliases. If they are duplicated or they are the same alias, the report will error out. Now let's search for this report here again. And now we can see the report is now available as a custom report because we enabled the web service enabled as web services as yes, and it will generate the namespace in the API version. We got the data from the report. And we are going to alternate output format and run a system user. We're going to ignore this. We don't need this right now. We need to do a transformation on the report. For that, what we'll do? We'll select new custom report transformation and we'll jump back to it. Again, as to how we're going to do transformation. Then the delivery method. Do we want to have it attached as an inbox item? It will be a working attachment. Or I want to send it to an FTP or an SL. Say if I want to send it to an FTP, I need to give the FTP address like CEPI : 127.0.1. FP is file transfer protocol. If you have a FTP server or a secured FTP server, you can send the data to the SFTP as well. When you integrate with other companies, they generally prefer to use the SFTP method. Let me refresh my page. Give me one moment. Let me put my EIB again. Outbound and it will CF. There we go. We had not completed the configurations. I'm going to go ahead and continue. Go to Edit. We were on the delivery cap. Let's say I want to have it as a SFP. I have to provide all the SFP details, which will be provided by my recipient. Or if it's my own SFP, then sure I would have the information. Say directory is going to be CF, EC. EC. SS. I may have a structure for my directory that would be provided to me by the SFT owner. Say user ID 2234. Password could be 2234. Then what is the file name? That when I deliver the file, what is going to be the file name? I would say employee underscore flex. Retention for policy say I want it to be retained for 30 days. And say I want to use a dynamic file name. Every time a file is there, I want to use the date as a format. We'll select as to how we are going to do that. I have the option for delivering it to CSV, HTML, Excel or text. As we selected Slacks, it's going to come in Excel. If I want to select it, say drop it as CSV. From a separate values, I can select CSV from here. And if I have a PGP encryption that I need to use, I can create a use of the PGP certificate to encrypt the file. If I need to. This is how we set up the FPSL. SFTP is somewhat similar as well. Again, you have the SFTP address, say. Then you provide the authentication method, say username and password or SH authentication, username and password, and the rest of the details remain the same. Let's say, for the sake of this call, I'm going to use an email delivery. Right. I put 3 email addresses CC. I don't want to CC anyone. I can add as many email addresses I want in the to address with the semicolon. 6EBC say from is going to be this. Let's call it say employee census data. And the email text. Let's call it say CF underscore employee census of CSV retention policies 30 days. We'll set up the dynamic filing and let's go ahead. And if I want to have my own more than one delivery method like email as well as SFTP, I can add another one down here. But it's up to you. Now the review. Our EIB tells that we created send it to the same address, and now the EIB template has been created. It is using the data source as active worker details. The transformation we're going to look at and the delivery method is this. Now, as you can see that we have an error here, and the error says the integration system is using unencrypted transport protocol. You should encrypt with P, GP or your security administrator to put an exception on it. Logan is a security administrator here on the Senate as well. I'll go to EIB interface toggle approve unencrypted transport. And then I would allow the email address as a recipient. That's one part. Now, if you remember, we had talked about dynamic filing and transformation. Let's look at the dynamic filing first. I don't want to restrict it to any tenant type, either production or sandbox or anything like that. Our filing was cf underscore worker underscore census data.csv. But I want to make this dynamic. What I am going to do is I'm going to add a tag, tag1. And for the tag 1, I'm going to select, say, current date. Or I can say today. Tag 1 will always get today's date, returns today's date based on the current date where the user is located. Tag 1, it's going to be CF underscore worker underscore census data underscore tag 1, and tag 1 is going to be today's date. Now we have set up the dynamic filing. Let's go back to our EAB. And now let's do our transformation for the outbound interface. Configure transformation. Now what do I want? My CSV delimiter or the data delimiter? Let's say it is comma, but I want to use the pipe. I want the pipe as a delimiter. The line heading should be line feed carriage return or CRF. Let's say I want to select CRF. And for every header in the report, I can add a prefix character. Let's say for here I want to add star for the employee ID. If I want a fixed column width, I can do that. If I want to change the column heading override, I can do that. If I need to add padding or pad characters on the left or the right, I can do that. For username, hard a raw email and worker type. Let's say I want the pad character to be a dash. And I want the left padding and say right padding. Enter single pad or character dash pad. Let's say I want to add or say T on the left of the worker. If you need anything else, I'll let it remain the same. I can do some changes on my output file as to how I would deem fit for the requirement of the receiver. Say on the header, I want to say actual start date and time. And for the footer, let's say I want to add line count and then row count. Say if it's required by the recipient of my file. These are all customizable. I'm just showing you the options that you have. Now we are kind of ready with our report, with our integration. We are using this report. We just configured our transformation. We have set up our dynamic file name and we have added all the addresses. And we have also then the unencrypted transport, which is showing you now as alert because we have enabled it. Now let's run this. Integration launch, say run now. I'm going to use all the file name. Use system default documentation default. I've added all this information in the integration template. But if I need to change it on runtime, I have the ability to do that. Let's press. And now the integration outbound is running. If you can see the parent event, the integration system initiated by the report URL, the report which is going to be in use, the transformation that we have added. And here are the email addresses that is going to be delivered to and from, and the email type. And here you can see the dynamic file name has come in and added the date. Along with the file in the tag 1 that we added. Let's refresh this. Then it says complete. Knowing your email addresses, you should get this file delivered to you in a CSV format. Let me open this file here. Now you can see that the date is on the top and all the columns are a bit more readable. Your title, username, first name, last name, hire date, email work, primary phone worker type position, country, location, business, assets, and on. And this data, this file can be used for any other purposes like for payroll, for inventory management, or for your whatever the recipient may be using it for. And then I can set up the schedule for the weekly recurrence. It runs every 1 week day of the week. Let's say I want it every Friday. Start time, let's say 7 am. And Pacific time, Los Angeles run once. And let's say the first Friday next is going to be on the 10th. And let's say, let's continue this till the end of the month, last Friday. For 4 weeks, I'm setting up a scheduled start date and end date recurrence once a week. And every Friday, 7 GMT minus 8 Pacific time, we should be getting this file in your inbox. And let's say, and now the schedule is active. If I look at the schedule data, this is the configuration of the schedule, and it will give me the next events, the next 10 launch events. But we have only set it up for 4 weeks. It is just showing the next 4. But recent runs is 0. Integration created by, and the schedule is set up here. If I need to change the schedule, if I go back to my integration, go to the related actions, go to reports and schedule feature processes. And here it'll find the schedule for me that is related to this integration. Schedule process, and if I want to edit it, suspend it. Say edit if I want to suspend it. If I want to run it now, if I need to edit schedule occurrences, change schedule, transform ownership, view all occurrences, or even delete the schedule, I can do that from the schedule process related to the integration. This is how we create an outbound integration. We have multiple delivery methods. We have our source data that we can get from a report or from a web service. We can do the transformation. Now we selected new transformation, but now our transformation data is right here that we customized. Then the delivery mechanism. It could be one or more, and it could be Amazon Simple Storage, AS2, email FTP, FTP SSL, HTTPS FTP, or Workday attachment. Or if you already have a delivery method that's already in use from another integration, you can use it here as well. Then you put your email addresses. In case of email, the file name. If you want to use dynamic file name, you can select the dynamic file name and configure that. You can also select the option for, say, XLS. You can select Microsoft Excel as the MIMI type. Change the XLSX here. But you have to keep in mind, once you make this change, you have to update your dynamic file name as well. Otherwise, your dynamic file name is set up to CSV, whereas you have changed the file type. You can see here, you should still see CSV here. You have to make sure that you update it here as well. This is how you create an outbound integration using your Workday report using an EIB interface. Please do like, share and subscribe to our channel.